You're still here.
I'm still here. Can anyone check to see on
Yeah,
another
pop
computer
on.
if we're actually live?
I'm not seeing it. Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes there's a little bit of a lag
Yeah, give
to
it a
it.
couple seconds.
because it shows me I'm linked to YouTube.
Oh, so it's not the link, the stream link, but if you look at your like profile icon, then it
Hmm?
shows you as live. Yeah, there we go.
Are
Okay.
we live?
Yeah, I can post the link to it here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we are live. It's a different link, but we are live. Yeah.
Different link, but we're live at last. Welcome, everyone. Sorry about all the technical difficulties this morning. It's been pretty crazy. Riverside's gone ballistic on me. Don't know what's going on. But yeah, it's awesome to have Trevor from Apollo. We've got Strato from Strato Builds. And hopefully, we're going to have Justin from DrZzz back with us shortly. So, welcome, everyone. We've got a fantastic packed live stream for you guys today. So really happy to have you on board. Let's just see if we can get the chat going here. Let's just see if we've got our chat. Hang on a second. Trevor, if you want to introduce yourself in the meantime while I get the chat going here.
Well, once I was messaging Justin, he's in chat. Oh, there he is.
Oh, he's back.
All right.
Welcome, Dr. Z.
All right.
In the house.
Yeah, so I can jump in the intro on me. So I'm Trevor at Apollo Automation. We're a hardware company building products for Home Assistant, ESP Home, and Homey. We've got motion sensors, air quality sensors, all of that. Started as a small little community project. We thought would just be a little weekend fun. Turned into something quite large over the last couple of years, or last year. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And Dr. Z, Justin, welcome to the house, mate. Tell us what you're doing there.
So, I'm Justin, DrZzz. I've been doing the home automation live stream for a bit, and Simon invited me, and I thought this sounded awesome. I know Trevor. I just met Strato today. We're actually up at our Hobbit house. For those of you that know that we have a kind of a cabin that's a definite Hobbit house, and I'm messing with an inverter. So I got to be doing two things at once here. I got to be live streaming and getting this thing fixed.
Legend. And then Strato, welcome, mate. Give us a bit of an intro to what you're doing.
Sure. Nice to meet everybody here. I'm pretty new to YouTube, but not to Home Assistant. I've been using Home Assistant for about 4 years now. I've been lurking, and have all these ideas and content I want to put out there, and finally committing to it. So about 6 weeks ago, I started putting out some videos, and I really want to take more of a narrative and storytelling approach to explaining the different systems and automations and everything that I'm doing with Home Assistant. And I know that the world of AI and LLMs is a little bit saturated right now, but I feel like there is a real space in the home automation world for LLMs, and that is definitely a slant that my channel is taking, at least for now, is seeing different ways that I can incorporate AI, not just to do it, though, to actually do it in an intelligent way. So nice to meet everybody. Happy to be here. Thanks, Simon.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was just actually playing with my LLM earlier. I've got the Home Assistant Preview Edition running there, and what I was doing, I was chatting to the assistant, and what I was really impressed was that it actually remembers stuff. So if you tell her, talk to me in a joking way or talk to me in a serious way, and this is my name, she'll actually remember and she'll actually carry on like talking to you in that method, which I thought was pretty cool, eh?
Yeah,
What
totally.
about you
And
guys?
I think a limitation right now that I know that is right around the corner. I think the next release actually they've built some kind of feature to overcome this. But with the voice PE and other instances of voice, there's no follow-up mode, at least that I've found. So when you ask it a question and she responds back to you, you can't just continue. You have to re-invoke with the wake word or push the button. So I'd love there to just be a follow-up mode that opens the mic back up a couple seconds after the LLM responds. But I totally agree, Simon. And I love that the persistent conversation and memories exist, and also being able to really craft the system prompt and that default chunk that she sees every time that she's invoked. Of course, she sees all the entities that you've exposed, but I like to give like a really descriptive dialogue about my wife, about myself, upcoming events, my calendar that I've shared. And, that way when she is relating to questions, she's got a lot of context to pull from to answer.
Oh, yeah. I agree totally. We need to have that back and forth conversation like I can do with Siri. What about you, Justin? Have you played with the Home Assistant voice at all?
Yeah, I have. And I was just going to ask if you guys had tried Home Assistant voice with the ChatGPT backup, because that's what I've done. And it's fun. I haven't used it a lot for a lot of things, but it works, and it was surprisingly easy actually to set up. And you had to put in like $10, kind of $10 in the bank, and then it'll charge you a couple cents every time or something like that. But yeah, it's been good. And so you were talking about Siri. Is it Siri that you said that works really well, or was it Alexa?
Yeah, so I've got all three. I've got Alexa, Siri, and OK Nabu all working at once. So I can call my different ladies on different channels, get them working in the house.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
pretty funny, right?
Get them talking to each other. Can you do that yet?
No, but that's a good idea.
Try that one.
That would be super. Have you managed to get that working?
I would just if you do have your voice exposed to different entities in your home, just proceed with caution there. As sometimes I find that my PEs will very occasionally just light up, and they hear the wake word incorrectly, false positive. I'm using Hey Jarvis, which I know is not one of the most adaptive models that they have, but it's just the easiest for my family. But occasionally I'll hear it, that little chime go off. If I've got the TV running or if I'm talking, I just stop, because I don't want her to hear, turn the boiler to 180 degrees or something, So I've had limited control, but I am like a little bit nervous still about exposing too much.
I will. Thankfully, I haven't exposed very much. I've just kind of started. Did it again. Sorry, we're just driving from the pavilion down to the house, and the radio came on. No, I probably get more false positives like that than I actually try to use it. So it actually just will come on when I'm talking to somebody else in my office and say, it sounds like you want this, or I don't know what you're talking about, basically is what she says typically.
Yeah.
What about you guys, Trevor? You were talking a while ago about getting a voice assistant working in some of your devices.
Yeah. So we were working on building a voice device for a little bit, kind of around December, right around when Home Assistant had announced theirs. We kind of put it on hold. I wasn't super happy with the voice performance. We were waiting to play around with the Home Assistant voice. They've got a little more sophisticated of a microphone array. But yeah, not played around with it too much. We moved on to other things. But yeah, I think it's a really great way to interact with your smart home. Yeah.
I originally had Home Assistant voice installed in the S3 Box 3, and that was a good experimental device, but I could not get it reliably, always hearing the wake word and a lot of false positives. And I was also training my own wake word, Lorelei, there, so that also introduced some complexities of its own. But the PE is far superior, like miles ahead of anything that we were doing with the S3 box.
The PE is awesome. I agree with you, Strato. I've tried. I started with the tiny little one they had that, I don't know what that tiny little box was. Then I went to the S3. Then I got another one from a guy that I'm dealing with in China. And just every level was getting better. And then Preview Edition, man, I think they've absolutely, that little guy. I actually couldn't get that one to work, but I got S3 working. Here's the Hobbit house, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at that.
You weren't kidding. That's amazing.
It's underground.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's buried.
Covered that whole thing. Tell us about it there. Give us a tour.
Yeah, we've tried to get grass to grow here for about 3 years, and we got some spots, but we got a lot of weeds. we pulled the trigger this summer. We're gonna do turf. We've found some guys that have this like wild grass looking turf, and we're just gonna turf it so it looks nice and green all the time.
It'll never, well, I shouldn't say never, but it'll take a while probably to lose that color. Maybe the sun will do its thing in like 20 years.
Yeah, it'll be probably a lot greener than everything else. And then here's the inside.
How cool.
So cool. Look at that door.
And do you have Home Assistant running through
Oh,
here?
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we were joking when we were building it and we were getting that all set up. We called it Hole Assistant because it was a Hobbit hole. And I don't know about that, but yeah, definitely have Home Assistant running, and all of my most important things I have backed up with a Shelly, so that I can use the Shelly cloud in their app too. Home Assistant's been super reliable, and I haven't needed it. I haven't needed the backup, but oh, here we go. Dang, I wish I could turn my camera around. I don't know why it's not letting me turn the camera around, but there's the Middle Earth
look, very
map,
nice.
and then we got this was a video a couple of years ago. It's an arcade, a barrel we turned into an arcade. Oh, I gotta probably put my Wi-Fi back on.
Surprisingly, we haven't lost you.
Yeah, you're going strong there. Oh, now he's gone.
Oh, he switched networks. That's
Strato,
cool.
maybe you can start, give us a... Oh, you're back, Dr. Z.
I'm back. Zachy,
Oh,
open this one.
sweet.
Oh my goodness. Keeps
Oh,
getting
my
better.
goodness, the hidden room behind the
A
bookcase.
little speakeasy.
Ooh.
Yep, that's the TV room.
Oh, look at that. That is cool.
And did you build this whole thing yourself?
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't tighten every bolt, but yeah, we were intimately involved, hands-on, out here working on it, and we did it as
Incredible.
part of a TV show. We did it as part of a TV show on whatever it was called, HGTV or one of those. I don't remember which one now, but it's called Building Off the Grid. Anyways, and then here's my mechanical room. So you can see I got my Shellys all over the place. Here's one up there in that box. That's a contactor for the hot tub. It's got a Shelly in there. Here's the Shelly on the water heater, or this is the big boiler to keep the house, like to keep the heat on and stuff. And then here's this is one of the original Home Assistant yellows. Like before they were even selling them, they sent me like one of the prototype ones when they only had, like a dozen of them or something. And that's one of them. I had to switch out the Raspberry Pi control unit or whatever it is. The
CM4, yeah.
Yeah, because it was the one that they shipped it with initially, the one that they were experimenting with. It was only like the 1 gigabyte RAM one or something, and so it was failing on me. But I just swapped that out. Now it's been beautiful ever since.
Is that a Pi 4 in the yellow?
Yeah, yep. Compute module 4.
Very cool.
I think you can go up to the module 5 now, can't you?
Oh, can I? Oh, that's
I think
fantastic.
so.
I didn't know that.
I heard someone talking about the 5.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I have.
Yeah.
If I was gonna change that, well, anyways, it's awesome. It's been working great, and I use it because this is about 2.5 hours from our real house where we live all the time, and so I've got to be able to monitor things and control things without having to drive up 2.5 hours. So that with Home Assistant and with the Shellys and a couple other things I got around the house, got some Ecobee things. I can do all the management stuff, or a lot of it, without having to come up here. I can start the generator. I can see if the solar's working, go on down the list. I can see what the temperature in the house is, turn it up, turn it down, turn on the floor heat, turn off the floor heat, whatever. Turn on the hot tub, turn off the hot tub. It's awesome. All Home Assistant.
And how do you prefer to interface with that? Do you have a dashboard on your phone, tablets? What's your preference?
I have a Home Assistant dashboard that I use, and I have it on my phone too, on the companion app. I've got one for our main house and one for this house. And then on my main computer, where I spend most of my time sitting when I'm sitting at home, I have a separate screen, and I have it up all the time. So I'm sitting there and I'm working on whatever, watching TV or YouTube or whatever, but I always have the Hobbit House Home Assistant panel up so I can see what's going on with power and stuff like that.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay. What else you guys were talking about? What was your
Cool.
Simon? You had a theme for the day, right?
I do, yeah. So I've got 4 questions that we're going to be sort of basing today off. So the first one was, what communication protocols? Obviously, we've got Z-Wave, we've got Zigbee, we've got Thread, Matter, we've got all these different things, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. What are you guys using? What are you finding works well for you? What is not working for you? Do you want to kick it off, Strato?
Sure. Yeah. So I think I'm experimenting with everything except Thread and Matter right now. I want to get started, but I feel like it's relatively, I don't want to say unstable, but it doesn't have mass adoption yet. And not all my devices have it, but I've really been leaning into, I think Zigbee is probably the most prevalent network in my home, and I have a couple of Zigbee networks. I have the one that the Philips Hue hub created in the house, and I haven't taken that off of Philips Hue because that's been pretty robust. And then I have a secondary controller. I have the ZNet, the little blue box, which has been awesome, and I've got Z-Wave connected to that. I find that Z-Wave is reliable, but way slower than Zigbee. Like I'll press the Z-Wave button, and sometimes I'm 2 or 3 seconds before I see it actually fire. But I've been incrementally adding nodes and different ways to increase, the robustness of the network. Basically, just Z-Wave smart plugs wherever I'm finding a little bit of that sluggishness. And then I've got a lot of Wi-Fi devices. I'm trying to reduce the amount of Wi-Fi devices because I find that sometimes I have some Wi-Fi congestion. Some devices will dip out, and that's a big frustrating point of me to see, a millimeter wave sensor go offline. So I'm trying to move some of those over to Zigbee. And I think the surprising one for me has really been Bluetooth, leveraging Bluetooth proxies, as we were talking about a little bit earlier. I never really considered Bluetooth to be something that I could use long range or that really had any place in my home automation sphere. But a lot of devices do have Bluetooth capability. But then in comes, the Bluetooth proxy, which you can install super easily on the ESP Home website with a variety of devices. This little Atom Light by M5. I think it's less than $10. But these little guys, the USB-C, you can pop them on outlets around your home. And once these are on your Wi-Fi, they then are listening out for any type of Bluetooth signal that you might send from a button, for something long range, from literally any device you might have. And once I had these around my home, all of a sudden I saw all these Bluetooth devices that I didn't even know had Bluetooth radios in them. For example, I have a lighting strip in my basement that my plumber installed around my boiler, and I didn't even know that they were putting that there. And all of a sudden I saw that I can control that with Bluetooth with this guy. And even though it is kind of like 2 links, it's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all that's got to be chained together. I found it to be very reliable, and maybe it's the hardware of this little guy plus ESP Home doing its thing. But I think that's been my favorite so far is really Bluetooth over Wi-Fi.
Have you seen, Strato, that the Shellys, I think it's the version 3 Shellys, they can actually do Bluetooth proxy themselves? So you can have Shellys sitting behind all your light switches, and they're doing the Bluetooth proxy as well?
That's nice. I'd love to recover some of my outlets. So would my wife. So. That's nice to know.
So much neater.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about that. I haven't started using the newer versions too much of the Shelly stuff, but like they've got this like alarm, this like a smart security bundle, which I'm going to put in the house up here. That's got it's got a Bluetooth gateway, and then it's got motion sensors and door and window sensors that are Bluetooth. So I'm actually kind of excited to see how that works. My most of my stuff has been Wi-Fi for a long time. I've had some Zigbee, and for the most part, the Zigbee stuff's been pretty good. I have had a couple of temperature sensors that for some reason decide that they're not always happy, but everything else has been okay. But most of my stuff's Wi-Fi. I know Trevor is the master of all kinds of these. He knows all this stuff backwards and forwards.
Yeah, I mean, they've all got pluses and minuses. They've all got very passionate communities behind them that think each one is the best. I've got a good mix. I think Wi-Fi is great because you don't have to worry about the meshing of Zigbee or Z-Wave. from us, we've seen like instant response on Wi-Fi, which has been really, really nice. They're easy to set up. Hopefully we're getting into Zigbee here soon. So we've been switching over our ESP chips to the C6 version, which will allow us to do Zigbee and Thread as well. Kind of the same as Strato on Thread and Matter. I like the idea. I like where it's going. I think it just needs a little more time to bake, and especially for more complex sensors. There's a lot of light switches and your light bulbs and things like that. But once you get past that, the complexity, there's not a whole lot out there doing rather complex sensors like millimeter wave or air quality, things like that. But definitely excited to see that grow, because that would be great. But yeah, primarily Wi-Fi in my home. We're also exploring, we've got a PoE sensor that I think if you can go wired is, one of the best options. Eliminating the mesh networks, eliminating any type of signal integrity. So yeah, definitely a mix.
What about LoRa? Has anyone played with LoRaWAN?
A long time ago. Yeah.
I've really thought about it. Up here we have the well, and it has a pump, and it's like 300 feet from the power shed up there, and 600 feet from the house. And I would love to be able to know when it needs to turn on, like know what the level is and be able to turn it on and off with Home Assistant, because the system itself has not been reliable as far as where it senses and when it senses that it's up and down. And so I would love to. And LoRa was one thing that I thought I would go with. Now that I think there's a long range Bluetooth as well. Isn't there something like that? And so I'm kind of excited to try that. And I think Shelly the Shelly guys are involved there, and they've got something, or I don't know if it's in the works or if it's available yet, but they were mentioning it to me when I saw them at CES. I got excited about that.
Yeah, Justin, they've got a little thing that actually clips on the top, I think, of the new generation 4. It's like a tiny little thin piece that clips on the top. So you'd put it on 2 of their relay systems, and then the one would work on that side and the other would be a sender on this side. But it doesn't seem to be available. I saw they had a really big launch at CES where they were launching that. They were launching their new Shelly wall panel as well, which is like a double screen display. They're doing some super cool stuff, eh?
Yeah, I met the Dimitar, the inventor, basically the guy that runs it, at CES. Like, it was 2020, so I think that's probably the reason that Bulgaria got COVID eventually. It was probably him. But great people, great guys. Like, the whole team, just super nice. They took me and Rob from the hookup to some Bulgarian restaurant, and it was awesome. It was like some kind of Bulgarian mafia thing. It was fantastic. We had a great time. But they like shut this restaurant down. I thought it was part of the Sopranos, but Bulgaria. It was awesome. It was a good time. Good dudes.
This is the Shelly group or Laura?
Yeah, Shelly.
Cool.
Shelly. Yeah. No, that came up just because of the Shelly has this long range Bluetooth product that they're.
Yeah, I wish I had a need for that. But did I read correctly that it's like up to a kilometer or more in range? Like, that's insane. I don't know how they possibly making that happen. Is unbelievable.
I'll be talking to Doug. Is I guess he's one of the operations guys here in the U.S. and he's the guy that talks about the product stuff that they have a lot. And so I'll find out from him.
But it's not really though to like send large packets of information, right? These are signals, basically, like on off, zeros and ones. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know if you get any sensor data. Yeah, you could probably get maybe a little sensor data, but not a lot, I wouldn't think.
Wow, so just be long range, low frequency. It's bizarre.
Yeah. The ESP chips, they have ESP Now and a few other meshing protocols in them. I think ESP Now does up to like 400 meters, but it is pretty low bandwidth. You're not like streaming video over it, but you can send sensor data back and forth. And I don't think it supports an ESP Home or anything currently, but it's built into them all.
So Trevor, you mentioned you're primarily Wi-Fi, and I do rely a ton on Wi-Fi, but I find that my issues, I think, stem from my mesh network and devices not connecting to the correct endpoints. So I'm curious to know how you overcome that if you have a mesh, and can you recommend a brand? Because TP-Link, I've enjoyed the ecosystem, but I find that my devices sometimes will connect to a way farther access point than they should be.
Yeah. So we use Ubiquity at our office at home, and with them, and I'm sure lots of others, you can lock devices to an access point, which is nice. So then that prevents, like what you were just describing, a device at one end of the home, for whatever reason, tries to connect to the lowest RSSI signal at the far end of the home. You can lock it to the access point that's near it, and we've done that on some of our, because we saw the same thing at my home, where it was connecting to one end. A sensor in the basement would connect to the upstairs access point. I don't know why they do it or what causes it, but locking them helps a lot.
Oh, that's good to know. So I try to power cycle my network almost every day for a variety of reasons. I think people are like, why do you have to reboot your network every day? There's something wrong with the hardware. Well, there's a lot of things that play there. That will scan, all the radios and make sure that, you're using the best channels, because you're dealing with all the interference from all your neighbors and everything like that. But I find that when my whole network is power cycling, each device, each access point is slightly rebooting at a different speed. So if one pops up and then my ESP device is connected to that, it will ignore the closer one. So what I've done is I have it's all in a Home Assistant automation that triggers the power cycle, and it checks to see if any Plex users are watching TV. If they are, it doesn't do it because I don't want to kick them off my server. But that happens around like 4:45 a.m. And then what I do is around 5:15, after everything should have come back, I then send an automation to power cycle all of my ESP devices to hopefully then find the closest ones. But locking them would be such a more elegant solution. So I'm going to look into that. Thank you.
Has anyone tried out these Yolink devices? I see Ramon is talking about Yolink as a LoRa provider. Any of you guys tried that?
No.
Yeah, neither me. I'll have to reach out to them and see what they're up to, because apparently they've got Home Assistant integration and everything.
So it looks like they specialize in long range devices, which is
Okay.
an interesting niche.
Yeah. And then we've got a comment here from Smart. He's saying that Z-Wave long range would also work. Have you guys ever tried long range Z-Wave? I've never even tried Z-Wave, I must admit.
We've got Z-Wave locks. I think they are long range, but we don't use it for the long range capability. Yeah, my only gripe against Z-Wave is that they're always more expensive than all the other protocols.
Yeah, they're like double. I agree.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give it an honest try, so I bought every like Z-Wave device that I could reasonably see myself using, and I haven't used this one yet. I think this one is long range compatible, but it's a big power strip from ZOOZ, and it's Z-Wave, and I'm gonna put this out in my shed and see what kind of response times I get from it, or if it connects at all. But this wasn't cheap, but I did need some kind of I wanted some solution that would reach out, a good 400, 500 feet away from my my main network. So we'll see.
And what about Thread, guys? Have any of you guys been playing around much with Matter over Thread?
Not yet.
Justin, have you tried it?
Me.
Very briefly, we 'cause with us building products, we're always trying to make sure we stay ahead, and try to build a Matter and Thread device. We used our development board, got a RGB working. It took like a week or two to get that solely working in Matter, but past that, there's so little documentation for like more complex sensors. We haven't played with it.
Well, what I love is that the Home Assistant project, it seems like it's pioneering a lot in that space, which is really cool to see them becoming an authority there. And, a lot of products and brands are rallying around that ecosystem to test, which is a great position for Home Assistant to be in.
I was going to make that point. I think it seems like even though, we kind of heard about it because of Google and I don't remember even if it was Apple or whatever, the Zigbees and the work of the world, people were touting Matter and Thread. And it seems like it's just not in the news as much from those guys anymore. Like they kind of said, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing all together. And then they haven't really done anything. So it's guys like Home Assistant that are making it actually happen, and people that are trying it with devices like Trevor's gang, trying to make devices for us to use, because it seems like the guys that kind of got all the publicity started about it don't seem to care too much about it these days.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. So it's Connectivity Standards Alliance, I think, that does the Matter. And I mean, when we were looking into it, the per device cost is pretty high, like tens and tens of thousands of dollars to produce a device that works with it. But if you want a seat at the table to go talk and like have any input on it at all, it's hundreds of thousands just to buy a seat. So
that's all you had to tell me, Trevor, and I've got no interest anymore.
Yeah, it's expensive.
That's not. People can make money, obviously, right? We want people to be able to earn a living and make money, but no, we don't. We've got enough. We've got things that work just fine, that are accessible to people, and yeah.
So a big proponent of a Zigbee. Hopefully, we'll be getting that into our products. I think that's a great one. It's the cheaper option. It's got great meshing and great battery life. I think it's a winner.
So Trevor, do you have any battery products, or is everything power over Ethernet or some kind of power source?
Yeah, we have a couple battery products. We have a plant sensor that has a battery and a non-battery option, and we have a temperature sensor that has a battery and a non-battery. They operate over Wi-Fi. We were hesitant to build a Wi-Fi battery sensor because Wi-Fi is incredibly power hungry. We've got an incredible community around our company that gave us tons of input that they wanted battery Wi-Fi, and if we had to use larger batteries to accomplish it. But yeah, we have multi-month battery lifespans on them. Yeah,
I have used Trevor's temperature sensor, the battery temperature sensor. It's great. It works. I just had it on. I was toying around with it on live stream a few weeks ago. And did you mention the moisture, the plant sensor too?
Yeah. Plant sensor as well has it. It's quite large. It has a large battery, but
is that similar to the little like Xiaomi guys?
Yeah, it's similar.
Except good.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I just got a few of these Bluetooth ones, and they seem okay, but I've got a ton of plants in my home, so anything that can help me in that department.
Tell them about yours, Trevor, because I love the way the way you explained why you did your plant sensor the way you did.
Yeah. So really, I mean, it's hugely involved with our community. So we have a big Discord of users, and we post all the time, hey, we wrapped up this sensor. What should we build next? And we post out, threads for people to upvote. And the top one was a plant sensor. And so we went out and did some research on them and found a whole lot of cheap ones on AliExpress and such, and came back to our community and said, look, like we can't compete with this. We can't build a $5 sensor like they can. But we got a huge amount of feedback that those, don't last more than, maybe a year before they start corroding. So we were able to fix that with conformal coating our sensors. So they should have a very long lifespan. We also use a different sensing technique than the one you showed there. It looks like a resistive sensor, which will corrode even faster than ours, which is capacitive. We've added, extra features like soil temperature monitoring, air temperature, humidity, the amount of UV, the sunlight that your plant is getting, things like that, like buzzers. Now ours is not as small as that on our battery version. We have quite a large battery to be able to run it on Wi-Fi, but users have been able to tuck it behind their plants and hide it away.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think I've had mine running for about 6 months now, Trevor, and it's just, bulletproof. And I really like the buzzer, because you're the only guys that put a buzzer on your sensors. Yeah. And it's so cool to automate, like when your water's low on your plant, that it buzzes to remind you to water it. I think it's cool.
So it's actually like your plant is vocally screaming out to you for water.
Exactly. It's kind of acts like your low battery on your smoke detectors. So you can
Good.
turn on the feature where
See,
if it gets it below, it'll.
I have a very positive relationship with my plants, not so much with my smoke detectors for that reason, that omnipotent chirp that
Yeah.
you hear and you can't figure out which one's doing it. So,
I mean, how long have we been into the smoke detector business here, and we haven't gotten a better way to do it than that? It's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. And there's not very many like smart smoke detectors out there, surprisingly.
I just bought a Z-Wave one for a small fortune, but
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
James, he's got a channel. Oh gosh, he changed the name of his channel. James Thiel, I think is his last name. Build it, do it, something like that. Anyways, he's on my stream often, and he hacked and put an ESP 8266 into a smoke detector years ago. I don't remember if
Yeah.
he made a video about it or not, but you know, it's just crazy that we have that kind of thing. But the problem is there's got to be a tremendous amount of regulation around.
I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
if it weren't such a liability and regulatory nightmare, we would get into it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure they're crazy.
Yeah. Well, the solution we've come up with is I just pulled them all out. So
now I know why you have to
Yeah,
keep your eye on the
Ends up
Hobbit
with all your
house
wiring
24
as
hours
well
a
at the
day.
same time.
yeah, and a guy like me messing around the way I mess around at my workbench with no smoke detectors in the house.
There you go. Put up your Air One, and then at least you'll know if they're particulates from the smoke rise.
That's exactly what my son said the other day. He's like, "Oh, well, you got this this sensor here. This will tell you if something catches on fire." I'm like, "You're right. We don't need to get smoke detectors."
And aren't there
Awesome,
there are
guys.
actual
Should we move on to the next
yeah,
topic?
sure, sounds
Oh,
good.
sorry, go ahead.
We're going to talk
No,
about
I was just gonna say, do they? I think I remember seeing a sensor that actually detects flame. Like if you light, even like turn a lighter on or light a candle, instantly will detect. I don't know if it's infrared or how, but I found that interesting. I don't have any of those, but that reminded me that exists.
What was your
Awesome,
question
guys.
there? What else you got there, Simon? What else did you want us to
The
talk
next
about?
one I've got up is all about hubs. So what are you guys using around hubs other than obviously you've got Home Assistant running on something. So let's talk first about what you've got Home Assistant running on. And then second of all, what other hubs are you using in your house?
I'll jump in. All right.
Go for it.
Yeah. So we're actually using some Odroids. Only reason is we wanted to offer a hub for sale on our site. Surprising number of users would buy our sensors and then message us and be like, "Okay, I bought the sensor. How do I use it?" And we'd be okay, like, "Well, connect it to Home Assistant." And then they'd say, "Well, what's Home Assistant?" And we'd be like, "Well, how did you find us?" Like, so we loved a way to introduce them. The Home Assistant Green is a fantastic product. We're hoping to get that on our store here soon. But in the meantime, we were flashing Odroids and sending those out. And so just by virtue of having a ton of those around, we just run all of ours on Odroid. And really, it's been a great little device.
Good news is, Trevor, I've got my Odroid running again now, and it's bulletproof again. It got brought down by that supervisor update, which I don't know what happened there, but yeah, managed to get it working and perfect, mate.
Yeah, they're a little more powerful than a Raspberry Pi and work great.
And much more reliable.
My main house, I use what was the Home Assistant Blue. It's an Odroid as well. It's the N2, I think, N2 Plus, and that's
OG,
been yeah, and it's been fantastic. I have not had a single blip of a problem with that thing. It's been great. And then up here, as you saw, I have the yellow, the Home Assistant yellow. But I'm glad that they have the green. I definitely recommend that when I have a friend that talks about wanting to get into it at all. I just tell them, get the green. It's $100. If there's maybe a couple, like you might want to add a dongle later, but you might not. And so why just get it and be happy about it?
Yeah, before the green, it was really hard to, I feel, get someone involved with Home Assistant if they weren't somewhat tech savvy to install it on a Pi or if they had some kind of NAS running or something like that.
Exactly. That hurdle of flashing, making a bootable micro SD, getting it running on your Raspberry Pi was a barrier for a ton of people. So yeah, really love the green. Same like you were saying, Justin, point people to that all the time as a great starting device.
So what about other hubs, guys? I know you were talking earlier, Trevor, about the having a look at
Habitat or something.
Homey. Yeah.
Homey.
Mate. That thing is, I love that automation, that graphical workflow engine, eh?
Yeah. So we have been working with Homey for maybe the last 6 months. Met them out at CES. Really passionate group of guys running that, and they kind of exist in between kind of the Home Assistant and the Google Home and Apple Home. They've got like really nice ease of use. It's beautiful. It's easy to get set up. But it's definitely not as like you can't drill in as deep and as functional as Home Assistant. But that's not for everybody. So I love that there's
in as much trouble.
Yeah. I just love it. It's another option. It's very easy to get started with. You can run local devices like you can on Home Assistant. I think it's great to have somebody else.
So is it, so I'm not familiar with Homey at all, and I guess there are ways to use it with Home Assistant or as a standalone home automation
hub? Yeah, it's a standalone system. So it's just a home automation platform, just like Home Assistant, just like Google Home and Alexa and all that. You can have devices, at least our Apollo devices, in both Homey and Home Assistant simultaneously. It's just a different option and a little bit easier to get maybe some graphs and things like that running, some dashboards, but definitely not as powerful if you are wanting to be like a power user in there.
Gotcha. So I've found it interesting in blending some of these different ecosystems. For example, I have the HomeKit bridge running in Home Assistant to give us, that Apple HomeKit and enable a lot of devices that wouldn't normally be in there. And it's a little bit easier for my wife to use that than open the Home Assistant companion app. She can just swipe up and it's in Control Center, the garage, and all those things. So I didn't know if anyone was using Homey like that in combination with Home Assistant, if there's certain strengths that Homey has, or if they really do kind of run in parallel rather than work together.
Yeah, not heard of too many use cases. We have our devices in both because simultaneously because we're testing on both all the time. I'm sure though that there are people using it that way.
The also awesome thing, Strato, is it's got a completely graphical workflow engine. So you've got a Node-RED in Home Assistant, but in the Homey's got this. You can absolutely just pull in a basic item and then you can draw all these lines between the different segments and you can fully create a graphical workflow engine. And you can basically run that alongside Home Assistant and you can connect to devices like Trevor's and you can be controlling it on both sides. And then, for example, I've got HomeKit running as well. So I've got all my smart blinds that I've just bought coming in via Matter into HomeKit, and then I can control them from the other. I can just share them using Matter. So that works pretty cool.
Gotcha. Is there anything that you found that you're doing in the Homey automation engine or creator that you cannot do in Home Assistant, or is it just a little bit more intuitive to get things moving along?
I think it's all about the intuitive. I'm sort of getting a picture. You might be a developer, but for me, I'm totally non-code. Like for me, YAML is find something I can copy and paste.
You're like me, Simon. Me and you, buddy.
Yeah, there's it. So I'm totally non-code. And for me, I love graphical workflow. And I thought Node-RED was going to be the answer, but Node-RED's quite tricky. I don't know if you guys have played with it, but it's not just dragging and dropping and then pulling the lines. There's a lot of code that goes in.
They fool you into thinking, oh, look how easy this is going to be all graphic. Just code in little boxes.
Exactly. It's disguised code. That's the one.
It's disguised. That's right. I do like Node-RED, but it does take that. You got to know how to use it. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's for me as a non-coder, having that easy graphical workflow. I reckon if I was looking for a really complex sort of an automation, that's the way I would go.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't live in the YAML world, but I definitely know enough to get in trouble. And I really do love the templating engine where you can, if you don't have an action or something predefined, you can write a template for it. Or I know ChatGPT, you got to use it with a grain of salt, especially with Home Assistant because it's always iterating. But I think one area where LLMs do really work well with Home Assistant is creating templates and quick like Jinja, workflows and things. But I agree. I think one objective of Home Assistant, at least the last couple of years, is to move more and more and more to the GUI. And I think that they are moving at a blistering pace there too. Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Their
been making
automation engine has gotten so much easier to use compared to the old days. Obviously, I don't know. It's hard now, I'm sure, for all of us to have the experience of what a new user might think of it. Without just asking a friend if they've tried it and what they think. But having watched it evolve, it's so much different, so much better. It's really nice.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate the same thing. It's incredible how much easier it has gotten with, we were just talking about how easy the green is and how that's, such a huge step for them. Their automation engine has gotten better. It's all pretty awesome. And talking with them, it's definitely tough to balance the ease of use with being able to switch into the complexity that, a lot of Home Assistant users, are looking for. So it's definitely a tough thing to juggle between those two.
And the fact that they've been able to limit the breaking changes to so few, like really core breaking changes over the years, and when they make a change, they almost always have backwards compatibility indefinitely. I just really appreciate that about the project.
Yeah, they're incredible at that, and meeting them at CES, and we've got good relationships with Frank and their developers and Paulus and all of them. They're all so passionate about the project. It's incredible.
No question.
Now, guys, we've been talking a bit about voice interactions and stuff, but what else are you using to interact with your smart home? Justin, I know you've got the Open House project, eh?
Yeah. I those are pretty nice. As a kind of a hackable, smart switch with a panel. Those what company makes those? Landbon. Landbon, and I'm sure there's more now. And I think they've gotten a newer generation out too. But that was pretty good. Not super user friendly as we're talking about the kind of automation stuff with Home Assistant and graphic interfaces and such. But not that hard either. I mean, it was just lines of fairly simple. I don't even know if you can call it code, but fairly simple ways to arrange a graphic display, and then it links to Home Assistant really well. I have one right by my office or right by my desk. I use every day. It still works well. Nice touch screen, customizable.
What about you, Trevor? What do you think? What do you interact with Home Assistant using?
Yeah, I mean, the most is just through my phone. So pull up the app real quick, or toggling some buttons. I do also enjoy touch screens, so tablets on the wall, or I've got a smart fridge. I would probably not buy one specifically for it, but the fridge that came in my home has a very large touchscreen tablet in it. That actually is a very convenient way to interact with it, because always walking by the fridge, it auto turns itself on, and then bam, there's my dashboard, and I can look at something or toggle lights from it. But yeah, those are my primary ways of interacting with it.
Well, as Trevor said, I don't have a smart fridge, but we always go to the fridge out throughout the day for water and things. So I have a tablet right next to my fridge that serves a similar purpose. And that one, I find that my eye often goes to my little LLM summary. I have that update once an hour pretty much, and it kind of takes a poll of the whole house looking for anything anomalous, and also looks at the upcoming events. I am pretty forgetful of a person, and I've overcome that over the years with to-do lists and all kinds of different mechanisms. But adding this LLM reminder and Home Assistant has been pretty great. And I also have some Z-Wave and Zigbee buttons in various rooms. Like my guest room, I don't want my guests to have to rely on any voice control or automatic lights, but I did want to have some automation in there. So I put a Z-Wave button set, and each button does something different. One will put all the lights on, full blast. The next one is 50%. The bottom one will send the Roomba to that room to vacuum. And I give my guests a little guide that says what each button does. So it's little things like that. And then other than the buttons, my phone as well through the companion app.
I should add too, I've had a Amazon Fire tablet, whatever it was, 10 or something from years ago.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah, because it was super cheap, and that's the only thing that it does. We've got it on the wall in the kitchen. Really what it does, I like it because it lets me know if things are working around the house, but my wife uses it to like control the temperature. That's how she'll say, oh, it's too cold in the bedroom or too whatever. Because I still have my old DIY thermostats, running on an ESP8266 and some relays I hacked together in the basement.
Nice. Are you using fully kiosk with the tablet to get it in like full screen mode? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I used. I can't remember now which app. I have an always on app and a whatever browser, full screen browser app to keep it alive and keep it as much screen as you can.
Very handy.
It's been pretty good. It's not great, but if you're using it for a tablet, I think it would be probably frustrating. But for that, it's great.
I agree. My only issue with that is the speed of it. The processor just is awful. Yeah. And as my dashboard gets more complex, I'll walk up to it and then I'm waiting like 5 seconds for everything to load. So that might just be the clunkiness of the code I have there, but also definitely the speed of the tablet plays a factor.
Yeah, don't ask too much of it. You'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
Trevor, you guys were talking about doing some e-ink displays at one stage. Did that get any further?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted a nice little e-ink picture frame I can hang on my wall. No power, just a little device that updates every once in a while with some metrics, maybe my commute time, maybe air quality, different things like that. I'm very excited about that. The only thing holding us back are two things. One, e-ink is actually quite expensive. The displays, they're not the cheapest. And the second is the configuration of them takes some quite a bit of YAML. So for a user to be able to take a product from us and then try to customize their own dashboard is a pretty technical programming endeavor currently. And we'd love to figure out a way to simplify that, either through a WYSIWYG, a drag and drop, a dashboard creator for them or something. But those are the two hurdles that we've looked at that are just kind of keep it in the back.
Yeah, I agree totally. I've played with the Sonoff little screens a couple of times, and also the Shelly's got a screen. Yep. But for every one of those, it's the mission of trying to actually explain it. There we go. What you got there?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Look at that.
I saw this a while ago. It's in the Home Assistant community. There's a little tutorial on how to do it, but this person, they have this by their door, and it's got some things that are static, like this in case of emergency, break the glass. But then they have, this one, which has a little cable here that's got, real-time data being fed to it. And they've got weather and train information. So this has been on my list of things to, never-ending Home Assistant project list for a while. But I love what they've done here.
I love that design. And
the e-ink just looks like paper, it's not that shiny sort of light coming out.
Yeah, it's so clean.
Yeah, and those are the types of dashboards I see are my favorite, which is minimal. So I'm not a huge fan of putting 100 different charts and every single light switch in my house onto one big dashboard on a tablet. I think that's maybe not as intuitive for people walking up to use it. But yeah, something simple like that where it's hey, what's the weather and what's my commute time. Yeah,
definitely.
That is really cool. Awesome, guys. So what about sensors? What are you guys, obviously, Trevor, specializing in sensors. Tell us about some of the new sensors that you're coming up with.
Yeah. So we are always working on multiple products, that our community has suggested. We're looking at, right now trying to finish up a parking sensor, which is pretty highly requested. So this is a device that goes on the front wall of your garage. And so you can set the position that you want to park your car. And as you're pulling your car into your garage, it's going to change colors. We also would like to implement a pattern so that people who have struggle with different colors can still detect it. But to allow you to park right in the perfect spot. It came out of me a frustration of, parking. So in my garage, I have a set of stairs that go down to a little workshop where all of my 3D printers were. And if the car was parked too close to the wall, it was so frustrating because you couldn't then walk there. You had to like go around the car and everything. And so being able to, park in the right spot every time on it would be awesome. And so that's one we're real excited about. And probably the closest one, but we've always got multiple things that we're trying to get through.
What about you, Strato?
I'm excited to see what you guys do there, Trevor. I know. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
No, go ahead,
Justin.
Oh, I was just going to comment on what Trevor was saying because we talked about their garage, their parking assist kind of sensor when we were together at CES as well. And years ago, I tried to do something like that with like an ultrasonic sensor and an LED, and it worked okay. It actually, I was able to, at least with the ultrasonic sensor, get it to at least tell me if the car was in the garage or not. But that's me hacking a bunch of crap together with an 8266, 5 years ago. So what Trevor and his gang can come up with, I'm sure is going to be way better and awesome. So I'm excited to see what you guys finalize there.
Yeah. We've been working on it a long time. It took the back burner while we worked on plant and the temperature sensor. Hardware wise, it's looking great. It's functional. It all runs. It's just we're trying to play around with some of the software right now because we want to offer it again in a battery and a non-battery. Non-battery is much easier than trying to do a battery sensor where you have to sleep it intelligently. It's way easier to run it on all the time and always be looking, but to sleep a sensor and then intelligently wake it up in the most battery efficient, like times and things like that is difficult. So yeah, just playing around with that. Very excited about it. Would love to use one.
Strato, what sensors are you doing?
Oh, that's a loaded question. If I could highlight two of them, I'd say I've got the house I bought was built in 1993, and the previous homeowners installed an alarm system that was cutting edge at the time, but it's old. But I've got these sensors all over the house, contact sensors, but it's just all wired up to this old unit that's not really used anymore. So I did a little bit of research and found that the Ring makes a Ring retrofit where you can basically attach all the little wires that were going to all of the contact sensors in the house, and then bring that into the Ring security system. And there is a HACS integration called Ring to MQTT, which localizes all of those signals, and then you can use all of those. Oh no, we lost Jay. And then you can use all those contact sensors as triggers. So very quickly, this has become like the backbone of my home automation. When the door opens, I know to reduce like the motion calls to the camera out front. When I turn off the alarm in the morning, it kind of sets off the whole routine for the day. So that's been incredible. Even like, open the door to the garage, the basement lights turn on, and it's instantaneous, using the contact sensors. So love that. And then I think my second favorite is my Tempest Weather Flow, or Weather Flow by Tempest, one of the two. But it's basically a weather station that localizes weather conditions, wind speed, rain, even lightning detection. So if there's a lightning bolt that happens a few miles away, I have my home assistant voice letting me know that, warning me about severe weather. And I'm a little bit of a weather nut, so I've got it tied up into a whole bunch of different automations. But that really is kind of the beating heart of my weather system. Yeah.
I have that same one, that
It's great,
Tempest
isn't it?
weather flow up here at the Hobbit house to let us know, and I use it here. The biggest point of using it, so because we're totally off the grid up here, and so I use it actually tells you like a watts per square meter of like solar energy availability somehow. I mean, it uses some sort of whatever its light sensor is to tell you like how good your solar panels could be working.
And so I use that as the trigger for my automations of when to allow certain high power devices to turn on or off, like our heater.
That's
So
smart.
I use that to say, okay, in the daytime, once that gets above 200 or whatever it is, then turn on the water heater, because I know that I'm making enough power, because I don't have enough batteries to run the hot water heaters. I say hot water heater, it's like the floor. It's the geothermal heater for the floor. It uses about 2,000 watts, and so I only turn that on when that weather flow tells me that there's enough solar production capability, because I don't always have great output from my actual solar system to tell me how much it's making. So I use that as a proxy, and it's been dependable.
That's a great use case for that.
Yeah, I've just got the Whitboy on the way. I don't know if any of you guys have tried that.
No.
Yeah. It's got that haptic rain sensor
Everybody's
on the
just
top.
nodding. What happened?
So instead of having the little tipping cup, it's got like a flat surface on the top. And then as the rain hits the surface, it works out how much rain is falling.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but yeah, we'll be testing that one out soon.
I have been wanting to get a separate wind sensor, because that's the only thing that I feel like the weather flow just isn't the best in getting accurate, wind data, and maybe that's the way I positioned it. But I like the way it is, where it is for other reasons. So I think I just want to get a traditional like cup and vane wind sensor somewhere else, maybe on top of my house. I've got an EchoWit hub that connects to a variety of other things. I also use the EchoWit plant sensors, which I think they're way more robust than the little AliExpress ones. But yeah, I think that's going to be my next thing with weather, is getting another few sensors separated in the backyard, so that I've got, rain detection where it's optimal for that, and wind maybe on top of my shed or somewhere else.
And you, Justin, you got any other cool sensors to show us there? Can you hear me? Oh, I think we lost him.
It's like, why now?
Yeah, he's gone. Awesome, guys. Well, we've probably been online for about an hour now. Have you guys got anything interesting else that you want to bring up before we close off?
One thought I had, I guess I shared a little bit of a nuisance that I have with my devices not
The
connected to the
coolest
right
sensors
access
I have are
point.
the ones that
Oh, he's got a
Trevor
delay.
makes.
Yeah, carry on.
No,
Go for it.
am I working okay? Is it working? Not really very well,
Yeah,
is
you're
it?
back.
You're good.
You're back.
That is a wicked delay.
Working delay. Tell us about your sensors, Justin. He's going via the Hobbit house, via his other house, to China and back to us.
He's probably listening to Strato talk right now. I'm assuming.
Probably. You're right. Oh, well, let me finish that thought. What's your
finish
biggest
that.
pet peeve right now in Home Assistant? Or not even Home Assistant, just your home automation. For me, it's devices connecting to the wrong access points.
I don't know what's happening, guys. I don't know what's happening.
But if you guys have
Am I-
any like real annoyances, I'm curious to hear what they are.
Don't wait for it. Yeah, forget it.
Annoyances on
I
it.
don't know that I'm going to be able to.
Or challenges that you're trying to overcome.
How are you guys finding the new backup system on Home Assistant?
I think it's a great feature. I think it's needed, and especially as they're trying to,
I can hear you.
Can you hear us now? Are you up to speed with us? Okay.
It's a mean delay there.
But yeah, I think it's definitely cool. I think it helps them a lot with becoming more mainstream, obviously, and increasing the stability. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Great. So on my side, probably my biggest frustration at the moment is I've got so many devices that I've brought into Home Assistant over the years, and then I've taken them out because I'm testing all these different devices, and I find you get a lot of junk building up inside the Home Assistant database, and I've got the Spook. I don't know if you guys have seen Spook, which sort of
Yep.
pops up some things that you should be adjusting. But ideally, you need to have some sort of a cleanup system just to get rid of all the rubbish. Have you got any answers about that, Justin?
Can you hear anything that I'm saying? I have no idea.
Yeah,
I can
now
hear
we
you
got you.
guys.
We can. It's
Okay,
We can
just
hear
my
you now.
my connection went from 99% to 48, and it's
Oh.
stuck there. Yeah. But I've been able to listen to everything you guys have said. So
Oh.
as far as what did you just asked about?
like frustrations or challenges.
Problems.
Oh, they've become less. But the thing's just stopping. You know, you get something, you spend some time on it, you get it set up. You got, a combination of maybe some sensors and some relays and some automation, and you get it set up and it's dialed in, and then for some reason randomly it just stops, and you don't know why. And it's not. I wish I could say that it's always the same thing. Like, oh, it's always Home Assistant, or it's always the relay, or it's always the sensor. It's not. It's just always something different. And the less I found, the less new automations I try to make, the less that happens.
I have found though, like I rarely don't learn something when I go through that debugging process. Like when I was first getting started with Zigbee, I had all of my radio devices on the same wall, all next to each other, and I heard all the noise about keep Zigbee away from your Wi-Fi router, and I was like, nah, I don't need to do that. And I was just having the worst time with my Zigbee network, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll move it. As soon as I moved it away to like a central part of my house, everything clicked with Zigbee. So I was like, okay, maybe I should have heated that earlier.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
What are you using as a dongle for your Zigbee, Strato?
I am using the ZNet. I think it's Z-Wave, or it's just called ZNet. I think. I'm trying to remember the company that makes it, but that handles both. It's HomeSeer that makes ZNet, and that handles both Zigbee and Z-Wave simultaneously.
What do you guys, Justin, Trevor? What are you using for your Zigbee router, your Zigbee dongles?
Ooh, I don't know what it's called. It's some USB stick plugged into the back. I don't remember the name.
What color is it?
I don't even remember that. It's been, but that's a good sign, right?
That is a good sign.
It's been tucked away behind my server cabinet and up on the wall, and I haven't touched it in years, I don't think.
Yeah, I have to say the similar thing to Trevor. Mine has been plugged into my Home Assistant Blue since like 2021 or 22 or whenever that came out.
Wow.
And I haven't thought about it since. I know the Home Assistant Sky. If I was going to get one now, I'd go with that one. I believe that the chip that I have in the one that I bought, I want to say SimLabs or something like that, or Sil something. Anyways, I think that the Home Assistant Sky is
recalled
based on
one?
the same chip. Is it recalled?
There was one that was overheating. They had like an issue with a certain batch. I don't remember all the details, but they've corrected that issue though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, again, same as Trevor. It's plugged in, and I haven't looked at it in years, and it just does its thing. And I actually rely quite a bit on those for our house. Our main house is all the thermal, all the temperature, climate control stuff is Zigbee temperature sensors and the relay boards. I am going to be transitioning though to more. I have several of these Apollo sensors now from Trevor, and I'm going to use some of those because I've had my Zigbee sensors long enough now that the batteries are starting to run out, and it shouldn't be a hard thing to just go get a new battery and put it in the sensor, but it's hard. It's the motivation or whatever to get it and do it. So since we have good options now that are we can plug in, I'm going to be, as I want to replace those, I'm not going to buy more of those Zigbee ones. I'll just use some of Trevor's and plug them in different places.
It's a real pain, eh? Because every single one has got a different size coin cell.
Feels like it.
Yeah. I've used a lot of Akara devices that all use the same one, but once you start varying brands, they go all over the place. Yeah.
Trevor, have you got anything you want to sort of finish off with?
No, it's a great live stream, Simon. We appreciate being invited. This is it's great to meet you, Strato. Yeah, really enjoy these things. These are great for the Home Assistant community. I think it's great for all of our own community members that we have, being able to mix them. You guys all, I can't speak for Strato. I haven't seen your content yet, but I know Simon and DrZzz put out great content. I'm sure you do as well.
Well said, Trevor.
Cheers, Trevor. Strato, do you want to say anything to finish off there?
I mean, echo what Trevor said. This has been great, and hopefully it's not the last one. I'd love to join again if you do it again.
Of course. No, I'm trying to do these sort of once a month or once every 6 weeks because it's just fun having a chat and getting together with everyone. What about you, Justin? Anything else you want to say? Or
Thanks for the invite. Been a great time. This is a perfect opportunity. I had a couple things up here that I needed to fix, but I had to make sure that I got up here in time to do this. And I thought this will be perfect. I'll get up here, I'll start messing with some of these things that I got to mess with, and I'll get a stream done. So anyways, thanks for the invite, Simon, and Strato and Trevor, good to see you, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
awesome, guys. Thanks very much, everyone. And yeah, we'll let you know, catch up probably in the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks with another awesome group like we've had today.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.
Awesome.